Hey guys, what's up? How y'all doing? I'm here to give you a recap or summary of One Piece chapter 1115. This chapter right here, my goodness gracious, many people may think nothing has really happened in this chapter, but the information given must be very important. So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that Vegapunk continues his speech and talk around the world, I thought it was pretty cool here and there. While throughout the chapter there are reactions from a lot of places, which I won't name here because I don't think it's that important. So if anything else, let's continue off with Vegapunk talks. He talks about a pirate known as Joy Boy, just like Luffy here and there. And we get to see some other stuff happening here and there that Vegapunk does talk about, do bear in mind I only have access to a handful of poneglyphs, but the combined narrative clearly chronicles about a great war that happened in distant past, and we get to know that Vegapunk reveals that Joy Boy faced an enemy organization that is known as the World Government, and they go what? Are you serious right now? And right now we get to see one of the Gorosei, the freaking pig-like monster Gorosei, is very angry right now, saying, Vegapunk, what the f you doing, And we have to it that Vegapunk continues to talk about how back then they were nearly allied powers, a temporary coalition consisting of 20 separate kingdoms here and there. And we get to see that one of the Gorosei is really upset about this and uses his House Shoku no Haki to knock off a lot of snails, but that's not working. We get to know that we get to know how Vegapunk talks about it can be assumed that an alliance was only feasible way to oppose a formidable faction which Joy Boy belonged to. As Vegapunk continues on, he talks about how that cause of conflict still alludes to me, but it presumes to be judge the morality of combatants. I can, however, say that this was a clash of two opposing ideologies. I mentioned earlier that Joy Boy was born into a fantastical civilization, one so advanced that it's hard to believe it existed 900 years ago. The weapons that existed during this century-long struggle are far beyond our modern science whatsoever, And we have Vegapunk talks about that technology, and that he also talks about a certain problem, We get to see a chapter scene with Stussy talking to one of the Vegapunk's Edison, I believe, and we get to see the Jinbei with Zoro saying that and trying to reunite with Nami here and there, but we have let's get to this important scene right here with Stussy and Edison talking with each other, Although we have Edison tells Stussy that you should get out of here, and we have Stussy says, I don't think you understand. Without Stella, the original Vegapunk, what am I supposed to live for? I have no purpose. As Kaku overhears this, he doesn't say anything, And we have that that everyone that the pirates are facing against the Gorosei horse guy with the sword whatsoever. We have that that he goes for a heavy, powerful slice right now, trying to figure out what to do, And we have that Vegapunk continues the Void Sentry idea about how it ended with Joy Boy's defeat, Which I go, oh my gosh. So are you saying that the Void Sentry that was actually very important was actually destroyed when Joy Boy was killed, And we have that Vegapunk continues to talk about the wake of the ancient conflict scarred the world and it never has healed, etc. As for the Gorosei, the horse monster looking like Gorosei, he tries to cut freaking Egghead Island, but it looks like to me it's not really working very well. But we see that Vegapunk continues to talk about the ocean or something about the Void Sentry. He talks about we all know travel between islands can be very difficult, but the seas are transverse are so vast and perilous that most people are content to live and die at their place of birth, never experiencing any culture other than their own, And we have Vegapunk talks about that is common knowledge to us now, but it wasn't like that 1,000 years ago. Vegapunk talks about a cataclysmic ecological disaster occurred during the Void Century, and the ancient world was swallowed by the ocean. We are now living on top of its remnants, continental fragments of land masses that once were. So, looks like to me, what they're living on right now is nothing more than nothing more than simple fragments or something, you know. So as Vegapunk continues on talking about the Void Century, he talks about like the world millennia ago sleeps unseen at the bottom of the ocean. I know it's hard to believe on my word alone, but there really were multiple vast continents back then, you know. Vegapunk continues to spread the information to the entire world that's listening and watching this right now. This change in the world helps explain how a century of history could be censored. A feat that seems nigh impossible, but it seems makes sense when you consider the undeniable conclusion all the data points to. Within a mere century, the average sea level rose by a staggering 200 meters, you know? As even the Marines are like saying 200 meters? Are you serious? A warship is only 60 meters tall. No wonder the old world disappeared, you know? And we have to it that like Mocktown, who is laughing about it, saying it's all a joke whatsoever. While like when it comes to like some other stuff here and there, we have to it that like people are still talking that Vegapunk are really shocked. Many people are really shocked about this, but Vegapunk also talks about that begs the question: how and why did such a flood occur? Naturally, your first inclination might be to assume that it was some natural disaster. However, I couldn't say for certain that it was no such thing. It was a man-made calamity, you know. Even Morgan is actually shocked about this, but Vivi shuts him up, saying, "Hey, let him talk," you know. If this catastrophe was brought out by natural means, there would be records denoting early warning signs several centuries earlier. It was a severe altering event after all. As Vegapunk continues on, he talks about, but all my research in meteorology, geology, ecology, and atmospheric science confirmed that there was no such natural buildup, you know. We had to Vegapunk talks about like it is impossible for such a drastic change to happen spontaneously within the span of a mere 100 years, meaning the cause lies elsewhere. As Vegapunk continues on, he says, my suspicions were confirmed a few days ago when I analyzed the world's current sea levels. This will be hard to accept, but that disaster 800 years ago was caused by ancient weapons technology capable of sinking the world, and that very same firepower evidently still exists, just waiting to be used again. In other words, the Great War which ravaged the world during the Void Century is still ongoing, while Im is really upset about this towards the very end of the chapter, you know? So yeah. Anyways, this chapter right here, a lot of information revealed, you know. We have to Vegapunk talks about how all this information is connected, and that everyone who's living on the islands right now, they are living on top of the old world that's sunk, that is underneath them, that's in the ocean, you know. Not to mention, we get to see to it that Vegapunk talks about how the Void Century was destroyed with Joy Boy's defeat, you know. And as the chapter continues on, you know, we have to it like everyone is shocked about it. Some of them don't believe it. Some of them believe that Vegapunk's gone insane and so forth. But we have to it that like that the sea level rose by a staggering 200 meters, which really shocked the Marines and everybody. But not some of them just laugh about it. You know, I don't know. One thing's for certain is that like that. We have to it that the natural disaster was actually a man-made calamity, you know? Pretty much it's because of the ancient weapons that was capable of sinking the entire world, you know, that kind of thing, etc. So, pretty much a lot of very crazy points, you know, about how Vegapunk talks about how the world, that the city and world that we're living on right now is on top. We're living on top of it. It's sunk underneath the ocean. Not to mention like Joy Boy. He fought against the world government because they had two opposing ideologies, which we do not know what. I think one might have been about slavery, while the other one believes we should have a lot of freedom and do whatever we wish, you know? I don't know. Maybe that's my theory. Don't take it seriously. I'm just saying. I mean, like, world government has always been about enslaving and oppression. That much is to be said. Now, the the freaking 200-meter sea level rise was actually pretty scary, you know. At the same time, though, we get to know that some kind of man-made calamity was made by the ancient weapons, you know, which apparently, not to mention, the Great War that ravaged during the Void Century is still ongoing, which apparently we don't really know why, but many believe that I thought the freaking like this war that Dr. Vegapunk is talking about, it should have it should have ended maybe the time Joy Boy died, I guess. But looks like that's not the case. So looks like to me there's a lot of information revealed here, you know, involving the Void Century, you know, which I thought it was really cool. I mean, like Vegapunk explains why these two guys like fought each other. It's because of like different ideologies, you know, that kind of thing. And Joy Boy was fighting against the world government, you know. Not to mention like the Void Century ended with like Joy Boy's defeat. So the wake of the ancient conflict scarred the world, you know. I don't know, but one thing's for certain is that like they are literally living on top of the remnants of the ancient world right now. So that must be very shocking and so forth. Not to mention about like there was no build up to a natural disaster at all, you know. Not to mention like he talks about like how it talks about like ancient weapons technology capable of sinking the world whatsoever, you know, etc. And it happened 800 years ago, and the Great War that was supposed to end many years ago, it's still ongoing. So it looks like to me, whatever the case, what's revealed here, it must be very insane. I gotta say, Oda must be cooking up a lot of information, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't appreciate it or don't like it at all. There's hardly any action, blah blah blah. There's things going on here and there. It's all over the place. I think that's the point, man. I mean, like I love the lore and information of One Piece, which is one of the biggest main points or highlights throughout the One Piece series, you know, like, and so forth. So until then, people, I'll see you guys in the next video. So I'm Alpha Zero. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace out. Bye bye. Toot toot.